Okay, thank you everybody for joining tonight. I'll call the meeting to order at 6:36 p.m. As vice chair. Unfortunately, Representative Lamasau is unable to join us as they have their late session today, so that started at 6:30. So she will be unable to join, so I will help her to preside over tonight's meeting. With that said, Michael for the roll call.
Okay. Hey. Katie Arita Chang. Not here. Melissa Sato.
Present.
Thank you. Phil Barnes.
Present.
Shay Chan Hodges.
Here.
Carolyn Galoyu. In Japan. Justin Huey. Here. Josephine Killeran. Here. Dan Kochi.
Present.
Michelle Kurihara Klein. Ken Morikawa. D. Morikawa. Mark Nakashima. Dylan Ramos.
Here.
Stephanie Sakamoto.
Here.
Ryan Sakuda.
Here.
Bronson Silva.
Here.
Frank, and I'm not even gonna try it.
Shapansky.
Strafansky. And you're here. Andrew. Oh, Andrew withdrew. Sorry about that. And then Kyle Yamashita. Kaleo Chang.
Here.
Okay. And Michelle Lamasau, Chair Lamasau is not here. We have 11. We do not have quorum, Chair. If I may, let everybody know what happened.
Yes, please.
When we saw that there were so few people on the platform committee, interim party chair Adrian Tam went out and asked people to, and we put a call out to anybody who wanted that said they were interested at one point or another to joining the committee, and he appointed 3 new people to help try to get us to quorum today, so we were able to do business. Like Vice Chair Chang said that without 13, you unfortunately there's no business that this body can officially do until we actually have there's able to vote, since there's nothing in front of this body at this time due to the standing rules. Before we can look at the late submissions, we need a 2/3 vote from all members present, not all members on the committee. And so while I have all the documents prepared, unfortunately, and Donna, if I'm saying anything wrong, please let me know. So I'm going to turn it back over to the vice chair, your vice chair, Vice Chair Chang. So thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Michael. Yeah, and like convention co-chair Goloik said, because we don't have quorum, I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to officially vote on things because we're not gonna make quorum, so we aren't able to take up any voting actions. But I do believe that we can open for discussion. We just can't vote on it. Is that correct? Co-chair, you're muted.
Unfortunately, no, because nothing's in front of this body yet until the 2/3 vote is taken. And just so everybody understands how that's going to happen, we'll read the topics of the platforms. We're not actually going to, you don't actually get to see them because we don't, the 2/3 vote is not a debate on the substance of the issues. It's just on the, if you're willing to take it up to look at it. And that is how we handle all late submissions here at the state convention. And I see you have two hands raised there, Vice Chair.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. I think Bronson's hand was raised first. Bronson.
Thank you, Chair. No, I was just wondering, and I think I got the answer already, that we don't have quorum, but this session was still a practice session, so it's not being recorded. That's the only thing I was going to raise to you, Chair. Mahalo.
I think we are being recorded, but Michael, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, Michael's nodding yes. So I think that we're in recorded session. Thank you though, Bronson. Phil?
I just had a question as to how many of these late submissions were there? if that's,
I believe Michael is saying there were 3 late submissions.
Correct. There are 3 late submissions.
Thank you, Phil. Frank?
yeah, so my question is, how many people were added to this committee? And how many days ago was it? And can we send emails out directly to them so they make the next one?
All 3 of them are here.
Okay.
Yeah. So we want to thank them for being here.
Mhm.
So, and then, so yeah, so sorry, Vice Chair.
No, and I do believe also that Michael and Zoom sent a reminder. At least I got a reminder today for today's meeting. So I think that the members should be getting reminders about it. So if they are able to attend or not able to attend for whatever reason, we try to be understanding, but knowing that if we don't make our 13 quorum minimum, we can't take up business. So
Right.
thank you, Frank. I think that
Thank you.
Shay was raising her hand in her camera.
Thank you, Kaleo. Yeah, so if I'm to understand, I just want to make sure I understand this. So we won't be able to even talk about whether we can talk about those 3 late submissions. There's no, when I was at the meeting, and this is my first time doing this. So at the last meeting, we had no submissions. So there was sort of this encouragement to get submissions out. I think we didn't have a quorum at the last meeting either. I feel like there were even less people, and maybe that's why Michael and other folks got some other people to come, which is great. We only have 1 more meeting, right? So to me, that sounds like if we don't have a quorum at the next meeting, the platform committee will have nothing to offer at the state convention. And so even though some of us, and it was Frank and I that put together a bunch of different submissions, because we've, you know, as Phil pointed out at the last meeting, we've had a lot of things happening on Maui. And we noticed that water isn't even mentioned in the platform, so that's a whole nother thing. But so I guess I'm just asking, could an outcome of all this be that even though there were these 3 submissions, because there wasn't a quorum, there will be no platform amendments at the convention?
Do you want me to answer?
Potentially. Yeah, go for it.
Yes, that is actually true. Since there were, and that unfortunately that happens with even with late, we've had late submissions when I chaired this committee in 2014, whatever, one of those years. We had our regular submissions that we got through, and then the committee decided not to take anything else up. So even if we have quorum, we still have to make sure you have the 2/3 votes for those to be brought up. So it is possible. It has happened before in the past where there were no submissions. It just happened on Oahu. So that it's just the platform stays status quo until 2026 because there's nothing, just so everybody knows, there's nothing in the Constitution or our bylaws that allows the state central committee to amend the platform between conventions. So it would stay status quo till then.
Thank you, co-chair. Justin Huey.
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, a whole bunch of people could just be on platform committee and then not show up if they don't like what's there, and thus it doesn't even get debated. So I would think that we should at least vote to take them up with the limited people that decided to show up.
I don't believe that we're allowed to do that because I believe the convention rules specifically indicate for the rules committee, the platform committee, and the resolution committee in particular, that you need 13 in order to proceed with business. And because it's convention rules, I do believe that would supersede what our committee does. Michael, if you have any other comment.
Yeah, unfortunately, so that everybody that applied, I just want to make sure everybody knows that everybody that applied for platform was put on platform. And so all the people you see on that list, yeah. So unfortunately, that's not like anybody's keeping we lost 3 of our members because of the floor session tonight. And I'm not sure what everybody else is at. There are, I think, 2 other people on the list that haven't completed didn't do the training or weren't registered. So unfortunately, until that happens, and just so everybody knows, yes, we've sent out multiple emails to them asking them to finish up whatever they have. And to make sure that they complete what everything you all did when you all signed up. You signed that contract at the bottom saying that you do the training, and when you per convention rules, you do, to be sitting here in this committee, you do have to be registered and paid in whatever form that is. So unfortunately, that's where we're at right now, and we can we'll if we will do our best to try to see. I'll reach out to talk to the chair, or JC can. We're gonna put JC in charge of that. JC can reach out and talk to Adrian about possibly appointing see if there's anybody else out there that wants to sit on the platform committee,
Sure.
trying to keep to our required structures. Yes. Sorry, Kaleo, go ahead. I'll back
No,
to you.
thank you so much, convention co-chair. And I would be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge the work of the convention co-chair group, and interim chair Tam, and of course vice chair Domingo, in their efforts to try to ensure that committees can meet with the appropriate quorum. And I know that it is frustrating that while tonight we don't have quorum, again, like Michael said, we will try to have quorum as best as we can. But at the end of the day, it is up to individual committee members if they're able to join. Shay?
Yeah, so, and again, I'm new to this, so I got the impression that it was mandatory to be at these meetings. And so I know Justin's got small kids. My kids are grown, so that's not a big deal. But, I rearranged my day. I didn't do my, bike ride today, all this stuff because of this. And, we've got all these different meetings. And it's a little frustrating because I think this is a pretty big committee. If I went and looked and I saw, a lot of different people, and it's a good point Michael said about, bringing new people. We have these new people who want to be delegates because we had issues with District 13, and I think they might be wanting to be engaged and active. Coming from Maui, Justin's from Maui. Donna's from Maui. We've had some massive issues in the last year. And, Frank and Frank's from Maui. We took a lot of time looking through the platform after the last meeting and thought, okay, what can we add? And Phil had a great, suggestion about looking at the safety. Frank noticed there's no mention of water. Water's a massive issue on Maui. And so we went to a lot of trouble. We got our signatures, we did the work. And it is a bit frustrating that just because we're short a couple people who said they want to be on the committee didn't show up. And again, other people, everybody else here rearranged their schedules to do it. Some people have, lots of different kinds of commitments, and they're here, including, obviously you, Michael, and JC and Donna and everybody. So it's just a little frustrating if we end up with, it's one thing if it's voted down, fine. But can we at least, we can't even have a conversation about it?
Yeah, sorry about that. And, I do understand your frustration. I appreciate everybody for being here and giving up their time today. But, unfortunately, the convention rules are clear that we are, and as Michael pointed out, because we had no business standing before us and we would have to take a vote in order for business to be in front of us, as it was a late submission, we are unable to discuss. So thank you, Michael, for clarifying that for me and the rest of the committee as well. Before I recognize Justin, I do want to just go ahead and address the question that you posed in the chat, if that's okay. But Justin asked if how do we change the rules and what the procedure would be, and I would probably want to defer that to the rules committee and the rules co-chairs, because they are able to set our party rules. So I would, if you are interested in following up on that, any member of the committee for that matter, I would probably reach out to a member of the rules committee, or the rules committee chair or vice chair, or any of the state convention co-chairs privately, if that's okay with everybody.
Well, Kaleo and Michael can correct me, we voted, SCC voted on the rules package for this convention, I think was it in January or late last year? So, Justin, you've been around doing this long enough, every 4 years we go through this process and everybody has a chance to weigh in to make modifications to the rules. So, happy to look at it again, next time we come around to work on convention.
Just one quick correction. This 13 rule comes directly out of our bylaws. It's
Sorry.
so this when they increased our number, when it was there was a huge push in, I want to say 2016, to increase the minimum number of committee members to 41. That upped the quorum to 13 following Roberts. So that this all comes directly out of our bylaws. This is something that we will put it into our report. You are not the only committee to have this issue. We've had what was it? What's the other one? Platform. Rezos was very close on not having quorum. So we hear you, we understand the frustrations, and the way we can fix this is that we'll put it in our report and encourage the SCC to relook at this, since rules is already closed and they've already had add an extra meeting and expand their meeting times to 2.5 hours to get everything done that they already have in front of them. I don't think a late submission would be proper at this point. I don't think they even get to it because of everything else they have in front of them. So I know Donna, JC, and I will make sure that this is in our recommendation that the SCC relooks at this, because the SCC can change the bylaws in between conventions, so we can reevaluate this, because I don't know what it is. Maybe it's people don't like being on Zoom. Maybe people don't like being recorded. But I can tell you, we've seen the decorum rise by going when we went to this in 2022 fashion, and then it also levels the playing field for everybody. So you don't have Oahu beating up on the neighbor islands like we've seen before in the past. So it makes everybody the same, but so that, I hope that answers your question, Justin, that the only way we can do that is through the bylaws, because we couldn't even suspend the standing rules because it comes strictly out of the bylaws, and we are forbidden from suspending the bylaws. So sorry.
Thank you so much for that. I know that there are concerns about procedure tonight. I don't know if that is specifically germane to platform committee, and seeing that it's already been about 25 minutes since the committee started. If there's no objection from the members and no objection from the convention co-chairs, I would like to adjourn the meeting, but also stay on so that we can continue the discussion about procedure, so that, if anybody else has to leave, they can go ahead and leave, seeing that it's, like I said, been 25 minutes. We probably won't be making quorum tonight. But if there's no objection from the members and from the convention co-chairs and Vice Chair Domingo, if we can adjourn the meeting and then continue this conversation in the practice Zoom.
Okay. So is that it?
Seeing no objection, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 6:54. And Michael, if we could keep the Zoom running so that we could continue hearing from the members.